following program is classified G. It's suitable for all ages.
Very good evening and thank you for joining us on another episode on Business Best, and this is a platform where we showcase the best in the business, and we will be introducing to you people who have excelled in their particular field in order to showcase their latest developments in their respective industry. Now, today on the show we have an individual who has been in the digital transformation field for like quite some time now, and he has been working on some interesting projects, and I feel that he has been making life very much easy to businesses and individuals as well. So with that introduction, I would like to introduce you to Wasantha Weerakoone, who is the co-founder of Tech One Global. Wasantha, thank you so much for taking the time and joining me on the show today.
Thank you, Johnney, for inviting.
Of course. To start off our discussion, Wasantha, now Tech One Global is involved with a lot of projects, a lot of things, services that are happening, a lot of adaptations, and you have been incorporated with Synergy, and so many other firms as well. So could you give an introduction to what Tech One Global is all about and the services that you all are providing?
Great, thank you very much. So when we started Tech One, that is somewhere around 2000, early 2000, and there were multiple companies, as you mentioned, which are all actually focusing on digital technologies. But then later on, we have merged all these companies to create an environment which can provide end-to-end digital transformation solutions for the industry, including governments and individuals, as you mentioned. And so what we do is we help organizations to realize the capacity and the capability, increasing their capacity and capability using digital technologies to face situations like what we are today, economic crisis and maybe pandemic, and help using digital technologies to sustain their businesses. That's our business.
All right. So could you explain a little bit about the major services that you all have provided and the ones we are actually using today? Because I don't think people know that Tech One Global are the people who has introduced these services that we are using right now.
Right. So a lot of might have heard with us in different names, as you mentioned. Especially in Sri Lanka, you might have heard us as Synergy, but it's a fully owned subsidiary of Tech One Global, and now it's also renamed to Tech One. So we were very early partner in digitizing Sri Lanka. So as early as 2000 when we started, we have helped many private sector and government organizations to digitize. One popular project I could tell you is the birth, marriage and death certificates. If you're trying to obtain a copy of that, those physical records were digitized by our company as early as 2004. So we have been very much focused on bringing that technologies home and to apply it to many different areas, like to maps, to even to land records, and to many other, and including we help including financial sector organizations as well as telcos use our technologies.
Right. When considering the adaptation of technology, I feel that it's very important as well to make life efficient. What are your thoughts now, since you've been in this industrial field for quite some time now? What are your thoughts on Sri Lanka adapting into this technical world and adapting into technology compared to international countries?
Okay, so I will take this word and the word what you use, and I will just analyze it a bit, adaptation. And adaptation, I think we are quite strong in adaptation, but are we adapting the right thing? We need to just question. The best example is, most of the people who are watching this today will be using Facebook, or maybe young people might be using TikTok. And I think around 85 to 90% of our population have access to these tools, right? But still we can't make a complaint or tell the government, okay, my road is broken, or my lights are not working, or similar to that, many other social requests, or whether I can ask for approval. So adoption happens in one end, but in the other end, the adoption is not happening. So you may ask why, but we can discuss that later. So we are not behind anybody in terms of adoption, but are we adapting the right thing is a question that I will ask everyone.
But when considering, international countries, they are, I feel, way ahead in technology and they're using tech. But Sri Lanka, I don't know, in my opinion, I feel that we are quite behind. People are just not having the right mindset to adapt into, new things. What can you say about that?
I disagree. So I think we need to go to, again, back to the subject, adapt and sustainability. So if you remember when the COVID lockdown happens, the second week, all the vegetable vendors were using WhatsApp groups, to sell. They adapted. But are they doing it today? All the supermarkets used to have home delivery systems. Are they having it today? No. So it's easy to adapt, but to sustain it's difficult. Teachers used to teach using WhatsApp groups. Are they doing it? They're not, So I think adaptation and sustainability is two different things, and we need to learn to sustain. We are social animals. We like to see each other, face each other, and work. But world is not going to be the same after all this happens. So we need to learn to adapt and sustain.
All right. So now, when coming back to Tech Global, Tech One Global, what are the main projects that you all are working right now? Where do you think Sri Lanka is, and what are we currently adapting to?
Okay. So as an organization, we are, as I mentioned before, so we are helping organizations to digitally sustain their businesses using digital technologies. So where we do, we help organizations to bridge those small gaps in the digital world, because many organizations do have ERP solutions, line of business solutions, and but what they lack is that connectivity between those. We were used to sit in the same place and work, so we were okay to move on to the other office and ask for help. But today, it's becoming more and more difficult. Right, for whatever the reasons, economic or pandemic or whatever the reasons, if we are not at office, so we need to empower people should be able to make decisions. So to make decisions, you need to have all the tools, not only your ERP or other line of business solutions, there are other physical artifacts. So what we do is we digitize them and we make it available to them. And then on the other hand, things like approvals and signing is becoming very challenging today because you have to be physically go and sign. It's becoming very, very difficult, especially like organizations like ours. We have operations in 6 different countries, and our senior members are sitting in different locations. So if you have to sign documents, which we do every day, you need to adapt technology. So we are helping organizations to adapt such technologies to sustain their businesses.
So what are the solutions that Tech One Global has come up with to bridge these gaps?
So we have our own process automation tool, which helps to connect a number of separate systems and introduce smaller processes to be automated by users themselves. You don't need to have a programming knowledge if you have understanding of business. So then you will be able to create your own small solution to fix those smaller problems. Mm-hmm. Then we do have a digital signing solution and digital archival solution, which helps you to digitally approve and sign documents from anywhere, which are worldwide accepted. And then we also have a archiving solution which holds those things. Remember those things that we sign, you put it on somewhere, right? And used to be the filing rooms. Now if you're working remotely, where do you put? So just imagine the chaos that people are generating. So we are bringing a solution to address those issues.
You said that your offices are based in other countries as well, around 8 or 6 countries?
6 countries, yes.
6 countries. So how are the operations running, and what's the demand you see compared to Sri Lanka and other countries?
I think certain countries are a little bit behind, but certain countries are even far ahead of us. The adoption is happening, adoption and sustainability, right? That's because that's a natural thing in India, because we are present in Asia. So if you move to some other countries, they are economically and they're a little bit behind. They have always been, but they are catching up faster. I think we need, if we wanted to sustain our, you asked me this one before, so I'm just saying, if you want to sustain the position what we had, we need to be more strategic and we need to go faster.
Okay, Wasantha. Before we continue our discussion, we'll have to go into a short commercial break. You're watching Business Best, and we will be back soon. Stick tuned. Welcome back to Business Best, and we are in discussion with Wasantha Weerakoone, the co-founder of Tech One Global. And I think, Wasantha, you gave a basic idea about what Tech One Global is all about. And before we went into the break, I think you mentioned we were in the discussion of how Asian countries are slow to adapt into technology. I want to ask you why. Why is it the case?
So fundamentally, the problem is some countries are slow to adapt policies to use technology. So that has a one hindrance, and then there is another challenge that you have within that is customers, or actually the end users who are using the technology, are not aware of the capabilities of the technology, because the capability probably they understand, but they always think a solution through in their mind, mapping to their historical way of doing it. So business process re-engineering, if you have heard the word, they don't think of re-engineering their processes. They like to replicate whatever they were doing in historically using technology, but I think that's not the right thing to do. So that's what stops, or that's what hinders the adoption.
I think everybody is used to staying in their comfort zone and not moving to anything new.
Absolutely.
Now, Wasantha, when considering your journey throughout, being in this digitalization industry, what were some of the main challenges you face as an entrepreneur and for your business as well?
That's a very broad question. So the challenges, I think what we have faced is there are a multitude of challenges. And some of the challenges are related to geography that we are in, so it's difficult to attract investments and growth opportunity. Then the other maybe, as I mentioned before also, if your customers don't know what they want, so it's a cycle that you need to tell them what is available, and you have to there's a cycle of teaching them, educating them, and making them understand, and then you will be able to start providing solutions. So if you don't know that you don't know, it's a problem. So I think these are some of the main challenges that we face, and also recently talent flow, and people are leaving with the current challenges to different markets. So the talent pool is also getting depleted.
You said that people are not aware about what they want and what's available out there. So what has Tech One Global done to create this awareness? Have you done any campaigns or so?
So we as an organization is in the forefront of actually delivering this the knowledge share. So if you go and look at our website or our content hub, we are having a lot of mediums, where we deliver like chats to, we have podcasts to, we have videos and trainings. We deliver significant amount of we can say the knowledge we distribute for people to understand. But nonetheless, I think it is not a one-way street where we can push something and expect people to do. So sometimes you need to handhold your customers most of the time, because to start, again you need to you need help.
Right. Again, you mentioned, the inflow of talents. It's depleting. Why do you think so? Is it because, people are not engaged in the IT sector anymore as they used to, or?
No, it's a very lucrative and highly paid sector. So a lot of people are joining, but when you have good talent, there's someone always looking for that talent, and there's a price for it. And when we cannot afford the local economy. It becomes difficult to retain people.
Right.
When you're being offered higher salaries, anyway, people will move, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're saying we are currently facing a brain drain where people are moving abroad.
Yes.
To make use of their talent, is it?
Yes.
What do you think, Sri Lanka can do to, retain this talent and, make it useful for our country?
Well, I think there are multiple things that we need to do. I think one of the first things is we need to produce more. Because, the natural balance of, if you wanted to counter that, we need to have more and more people coming into this industry. And we need to support them and grow them. The second thing is we need to have environment where they feel comfortable, and maybe making sure some of these large development organizations to come here and to work here, so they can create that ecosystem or the environment, so nobody has to leave the country to gain the same kind of remuneration or opportunity.
And also I feel that everybody should be able to give the credibility to these talented people for showcasing their talents as well. And now moving on to the next question. Now, since you've been an expert in this field, what sort of adaptations do you think that we Sri Lankans should be ready to experience in the near future?
I think as I mentioned before repeatedly, adoption has no problem. But are we going to adapt the right thing is a bit of a question. But trying to explain how this can be utilized. Have you if I talk about something like TikTok, maybe it's known to many people, and today the TikTok is being used as a help channel, where people can ask for help and to how to do this, how to do that. They will start then technical manuals, then service options. So organizations need to start looking at. So they cannot stay in the same place and assume that the people will come to them using the same old way. So you need to move towards the technology, and also consumers should look at, and then should be some content creators, has to be there sitting in between to create this opportunity. So I think that's how we can get better adaptation to technology, better use of adaptation, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, when adapting into technology, what should we Sri Lankans expect in the near future? Now, currently, you said TikTok is the main platform or social media source that people used to learn, maybe influencers sharing their content, and TikTok actually can produce short videos to create knowledgeable things where people can learn to in a shorter period of time they can learn little things.
Yes.
So like that, what else can we expect in the technical world?
I think artificial intelligence and is really breaking grounds everywhere. If you have seen recently, there are new engines which can generate photographs and and sceneries which are like almost realistic. So, but these things can be done when information is, when there is supporting data is available, right? So I think as Sri Lankans, we should be able to look at these opportunities, I think, and find out ways how to use it for our own good, or how to even master these subjects, so we can have again of course opportunities outside Sri Lanka, because these opportunities are quite advanced, and probably by the time we adapt it, it is being well adapted by other people. So there are two types of opportunities. One is for the country, other one for the individual. So for the individuals, I think these are something, if somebody wants to study, that's the area that I suggest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as an entrepreneur, Wasantha, how would you describe your journey? Because you've been in this field for in the long run, and you've seen, so many revolutions and so many adaptations, so many innovations. So, how would you describe that? And comparing to the past, where are we now?
Well, so as an entrepreneur, I have, I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning. That's the truth, because I came from engineering background, and when we started, so eventually I had to learn what business is, or how the business runs, and then within that life cycle, there are many things that we will, as an individual, you have to learn, how to manage your finance, how you have to deal with your customers and complaints. Right, and then you need to finally deal with your own team, right? You need to. So, by the way, I forgot to tell you, we are one of the best places to work in Asia. We are on the top 100. We are 54th in Asia. So we have achieved that by again adapting and transforming ourselves to the environment. And one of the examples to give you is when the pandemic happened, we increased our Peoples and Culture Department by 600%, because we knew working from home, working remotely, people burn out very quickly, and you need to have someone being touched and understand their grievances. So likewise, we have been always adapting, and there's always challenges. Tomorrow morning, I'm sure there will be some challenges for me on the table.
That's right. Now, when talking about adaptation, I think it's important because it makes life easier. But some people might say, now, without adaptation or without using technology, I still can survive. It's easy for me to, do my thing in the normal way, the way I used to. So, would you be able to give some importance to the people out there watching this, or businesses or individuals, or about the importance of adapting?
See, I've been preaching this for the last 30 odd years, but unfortunately, our human nature is the change. We hate change. We don't like change, but sometimes we are forced to change. Then we embrace it. So I think in reality, this economic crisis and the previous pandemic has forced us to adapt, right? But what I suggest everyone, we adapted, but let's focus and sustain, because that's what it can take us to the next level.
All right, Wasantha. So we've reached the end of our program as well. And again, thank you very much for taking the time to join me on the show and sharing your experience and your knowledge with us as well. I believe the viewers out there found this program also very useful, and something to take from this is the importance of adaptation.
Yeah.
Again, Wasantha,
thank you so much. Thank you for inviting. Thanks.
And that was our episode on Business Best. Join us again next week with another product or service that would interest you. And just in case you couldn't watch us on air, you can always rewatch by catching us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Derana English. I'm Suzanne Shanali. Stay safe and have a good night.